Hello guys, I'm Peter from Builderboy. It's about a month since I picked up this used SimWorld overhead in the Netherlands, and since then I've been spending many hours getting things into shape and making it ready for use in my cockpit. Most of the different things that I've decided and things I've made, I've recorded in previous videos. So here I'm just going to give you a quick overview of what I've done, but if you want details, you can go back to some of the previous videos to see what I've done. There's still a few things that I need to do though. The flat panel up here is still missing. I need to put the LEDs in and wire it up. It's laying just over there. And then the gauges and the digits here also needs to be done. For these two, the gauges and the digits, I'm waiting for stepper motors to arrive from eBay and interface boards for the digits. The overhead came with the APU gauge and the duct pressure gauge already installed. They're both from Open Cockpits and using servo motors. I made the cabin climb descent gauge down here. I made that as a 3D print afterwards and using a stepper motor instead, and there's a volt difference between the two gauges. The servo gauge over here is a bit clumsy and noisy, whereas this one over here is smooth and silent using a stepper motor. So I'm planning on using stepper motors for the rest of the gauges. You can see the fuel gauge over here is missing because I'm 3D printing the housing for that right now, and when the stepper motors arrive, I'm just a matter of mounting it onto the housing, and then we should be good to go with that gauge. It's fairly easy. I'll do a separate video about these gauges. Furthermore, I had an annunciator missing, and I 3D printed that today, that one here. It doesn't look as good as the real thing, but for now it will have to do, and it actually looks better on the camera than it does in real life. But it's there, and you can see what it says, so that's great. For the untrained eye, the backside might look like a mess still, and it partly is. I decided not to rewire the entire overhead, so I have to stick with the wiring, which has some limitations because I'm not able to move things around freely. Like this bundle here, there's no play here, so I cannot move the interface card any further away because then I'll have to rewire these. And at this point, I just don't have the time. I've mounted DIN rails, DIN rails, and whatever I can, I'm mounting onto these rails from here on. Here we have a Pololu cart that's driving the servos, and it's mounted onto these rails. But it is a bit of a mixed bag of these rails, and then the original plywood mounting of the interface boards here. The backlighting is also, as you can see here, this is the backlighting, is just two rails with LED strips on mounted onto the back here. But again, I'm a bit limited because I would like to make boxes for each panel, but that would require the rewiring. So I've promised myself that whenever I'm redoing a panel like this at some point, I will make a box, and then I will have the backlighting inside the box as well, and that will be hopefully a bit better. But it works, and that's the most important thing right now. So all the visuals for enclosed panels, that will have to come at a later point. Now I'm at the point where there's not much more I can do, so it's about time to mount it in the cockpit. I don't know why, but I've liked moving around and rewiring things and doing all this, but mounting it in the cockpit seems a bit like a huge step to take. And I know it's stupid, but I don't know, there's just a feeling about it. Anyway, I have OEM overhead frames laying around, and my plan is to build a structure around the OEM frames. I also have OEM eyebrow windows and ceiling panels, so my plan is to make the entire ceiling structure with room for the overhead, and then once that's made, switch the OEM frame with this instead, and that should fit. So that's my plan right now, but that's going to take some time, so probably by the end of February I should be ready to mount the whole thing in the cockpit. plan B could be just to put some wood together and just mount it as it is. And I might go with that to begin with, but I like that perfect frame with the OEM parts. So stay tuned for more DIY fun and OEM fun, hopefully. I'm Peter from Bilderberg. You guys take care. Bye bye.